How does cell phone usage, more specifically smartphones, impact productivity in the workplace? Since cell phones have become smartphones, they have become a part of our bodies. They go everywhere with us, and it has been said that people feel naked without it. So, if it is a part of us, what happens to cell phones when we are at work? In the Bahamas, a normal working day averages 8 hours. How many of these hours are productive? While employers need to recognize and utilize the benefits of smartphones, but when these devices are used too often, it negatively impacts the workplace. It is nearly impossible for an individual to ignore a notification, whether it is important or not. It takes a lot of self control. Reason number one, cell phones are a distraction in the workplace. For the sake of this argument, I personally conducted an investigation at my place of employment. It is our responsibility to provide goods and services to pharmacies, hospitals, clinics, supermarkets, and gas stations. There is a large warehouse of prescription drugs, medications, and beauty supplies. On day one, I witnessed one of the employees put together an order incorrectly because he could not put his cell phone down. His phone rang in the middle of him picking the order. And instead of taking 5 boxes of a particular medicine, he only took out 4. What happened next? The customer paid for 5 but only received 4 because the order was picked incorrectly. The customer then had to call in to advise his order was short. Management took the time to view the camera, saw the error, then sent the driver out with that one additional item. It is a trickle-down effect, and many persons were involved to correct one error that could have been avoided if the employee was not distracted by his cell phone. Reason number 2, cell phones can impact the level of customer service. As I continued my research, I sat with the front counter who services walk-in customers. There was a customer service representative who again could not put her phone down. When a customer was in front of her, she had her AirPods in her ear, listening to music, and had to scramble to put it away once a customer walked in. This takes away time from preparing for the next customer or even checking to see if she can assist in another department. Reason number 3, cell phones can increase on-the-job accidents and increase financial losses. In the warehouse, we have forklifts that are used to place pallets of goods on high beams. The drivers of these machines must be trained to use them to avoid employee accidents and damage of goods. During my week of observation, I witnessed an employee driving through the warehouse while texting. Can you imagine what happened? He crashed into a pallet of goods that were on the floor waiting to be stored. After the pallet was examined, $800 worth of goods were damaged. According to Kelly Fitzsimmons, Carla Caruso, and Paul Malia in the Corporate Wellness magazine, text messaging is the #1 form of communication among smartphone users. They continued that some employees can exceed the average amount of time spent texting throughout the workday, which can decrease productivity and concentration levels. Reason number 4, lack of respect during meetings and other conversations. During this investigation, I fell victim to decreased productivity due to the use of my cell phone. I was in a meeting with a client and at the same time trying to deal with an event I was planning in my personal life. During the meeting, I found myself checking my messages and even responding to a few while the client was talking. At that time, I was preoccupied with what was going on in my messages. About 10 minutes into the meeting, I noticed the client was annoyed after I had to repeatedly ask her to repeat herself. I recognized that I could not concentrate on what she was saying. I apologized and put my smartphone away. Reason number 5, Smartphones affects relationships in the workplace. According to the 2013 article entitled The Negative Effects of Cell Phones, relationships in the real world are affected when they are substituted for electronic ones. This ultimately affects performance and decreases networking and making business connections with others. Networking and making connections is extremely important in the business world today. Long lasting relationships develop through in person contact. Some may argue that cell phones increase productivity because it is a quick mode of communication. For example, management can advise of updates and report customer queries quicker by sending a message than by sending an email or even calling staff in for a meeting. An email requires an individual to be logged into his or her account compared to a text message that is sent directly to a phone number. According to the University of Kansas study entitled Smartphones Micro Breaks During Workday Are Productive, employees should be giving a few short breaks throughout the day. This has proven to increase productivity and more deadlines are met before or on time. The study went on to say that workers who use their cell phones for short breaks tend to be happier and exhibit a more positive attitude. In conclusion, when it comes to cell phones at work, the cons heavily outweigh the pros when cell phone policies are not in place or enforced. Productivity is decreased, which can lead to loss of sales due to poor customer services and financial losses. So, put your cell phones down while at work.